What really happens in a woman's mind when you go silent? It's not what most guys assume. The moment you stop texting her, you're not just vanishing from her inbox, you're triggering a psychological shift, one that can either spark obsession or make her shut off completely. See, silence isn't neutral, it speaks. And women, unlike most men, don't treat it casually. They analyze it, they feel it, they read into it deeply. At first, the silence might confuse her. She'll ask herself, did I do something wrong? And whether you're actually busy or just pulling back, that gap in communication opens a loop in her mind she needs to close. She replays your last texts, looking for something she missed. She checks your responses, your tone, your timing. And if she truly valued your attention, that silence hits even harder. If you were consistent before, good mornings, late night texts, constant check-ins, and then it all stops, it's a mental jolt. Suddenly, she's questioning herself. Was I too available? Did I text too much? Did I say something that turned him off? And the more she questions, the more emotionally invested she becomes. She's not just wondering why you're gone. She's wondering what she did to push you away. That's the first stage. Then comes the second. Is he losing interest? Once the self-blame fades, insecurity takes its place. She starts to fear that maybe you've just lost interest. And it doesn't matter how confident she normally is. That silence feels like rejection. Because women pick up on patterns. If you were engaged and responsive, and now you're not, she notices. She may not say it, but she feels the shift. Even if nothing's changed for you, her interpretation is everything. She starts to think, maybe I misread this. Maybe he found someone else. Maybe I was just a placeholder. Her confidence dips, not because of who she is, but because your behavior no longer matches your earlier energy. This is where silence becomes powerful, not as a game, but as a mirror. It reflects how she views your value and her place in your world. And what makes this even more intense is the break from the norm. She's used to guys pursuing, checking in, validating. When you don't, it disrupts the script. Now, you're unpredictable, and unpredictability creates emotional tension. That's when she starts to feel it the most. The urge to reclaim your attention isn't always about you. Sometimes it's about regaining control, feeling chosen again, silencing the doubt. So she scrolls through her phone, sees your name, and waits for a message that never comes. Hours pass. A whole day. Now her mind is racing. He's probably over it. I knew this would happen. Maybe I was just entertainment. That silence, it's not empty, it's loud, and it either pulls her closer or pushes her away, depending on how she viewed you to begin with. That's the real power of going quiet. Not to manipulate, not to play games, but to understand what your presence or absence actually means to her. He must be talking to someone else. Once a woman has gone through the phase of blaming herself, wondering if your interest is fading, her thoughts begin to shift outward. She stops asking, "What did I do wrong?" and starts asking, "Who else is he talking to?" That thought doesn't come from nowhere. It's rooted in the reality of how modern relationships work. Everyone has options now, and when you suddenly go quiet, her mind doesn't just wander. It builds a narrative, one where someone else is getting the attention she used to have. That's what a lot of guys underestimate. Women aren't naive. They're aware that dating today is competitive. She knows she's not the only woman who's attractive, interesting, or emotionally available. So when you pull away, even slightly, she doesn't just shrug it off. She starts wondering, who replaced me. Not because she's paranoid, because she's experienced. She's seen how fast people lose interest. She knows how easy it is to swipe right, slide into someone's DMs, or reconnect with an old flame. Silence feels like a shift in priority. When the texts stop, when your attention fades, she starts thinking, maybe someone else is in the picture now. It's not always about jealousy. It's about position. It's about knowing where she stands. When your silence makes that unclear, her mind fills in the gaps. And usually, the explanation is another woman. And no, that doesn't mean she's insecure or needy. It means she's tuned into the reality that most men don't just disappear for no reason. In her experience, when someone pulls back, it's rarely because they're just busy. It's usually because their attention went somewhere else. And here's the part you might never see. These thoughts, they're often silent. She may not ask questions. She may not confront you. She might still respond to your occasional messages like nothing's wrong. But deep down, she's convinced. You've found someone else. That quiet paranoia builds over time. Doesn't matter if you're just overwhelmed or taking space. If you were consistent before and now you're not, the change speaks louder than any excuse. Every delay, every cold reply, every unanswered message just reinforces the belief that your silence has a face. And if she actually liked you, if she was emotionally invested, the idea of being replaced isn't just sad, it's triggering. It's not only about losing your attention, it's about watching it go to someone else. That comparison, even if it's imagined, cuts deep. It chips away at her pride, at her confidence, at her sense of connection. And once the idea enters her mind, it sticks. Now every pause, every missed call, every late reply, it all becomes evidence. He must be talking to someone else. And when that belief takes hold, her behavior shifts. She's no longer wondering what's happening. Now she's asking, how do I pull him back in? That's when the dynamic flips. Suddenly, she's chasing. Not always because she's still in love, but because she wants to regain control. She wants her power back. Because uncertainty, it's uncomfortable. And people, especially women who are emotionally aware, don't like sitting in discomfort. Her mind doesn't stay stuck in confusion for long. It moves to strategy. How do I get him to notice me again? Even if she was the one who seemed cold or distant before, now the silence flips everything. She starts replaying your conversations, looking for signs, wondering what changed, debating whether to text first or stay silent longer. She may not even realize she's doing it, but her mind is trying to find a way to reopen that connection. Because deep down, there's a need. Not always for love, not always for closeness, but for confirmation. Confirmation that she still matters, that she still has your attention. And your silence, it challenges that. It makes her feel like she's fading, like she's no longer on your radar. And nobody likes the feeling of becoming forgettable, especially not to someone who once made them feel chosen. That's why even women who act detached, who say they're unbothered, often start doing subtle things. Checking your online status, posting more, paying attention to mutual friends. It's not about desperation, it's about validation. The silence you created, it's not empty, it's loud, it lingers. And the longer it goes on, the more it pushes her to do something, anything, to feel in control again. So you start seeing the changes. She becomes more visible. Not directly, but in ways that are meant to catch your attention. A story posted at the right time. A subtle mention in a shared circle, a shift in energy. All of it is her way of saying, I haven't disappeared, have you? Because at its core, this isn't just about missed messages. It's not about texting back. It's about power, about being chosen, about knowing she still has an effect on you. Once a woman reaches that stage, she's no longer passive. She's in reclaim mode. Because in her world, attention isn't just a nice feeling. It's proof. Proof that she still matters. Proof that she still stands out in a world full of options. Proof that your silence doesn't mean she's already been replaced. And until she gets that proof, until she knows where she stands, she won't be able to shake the question, who took my place? 5. Was he just playing me? After all the confusion, suspicion, and effort to get your attention back, there comes a moment when something inside her shifts. The chase stops, the emotions settle, and her thoughts take a turn. Was this even real, or was he just playing me the whole time? That's when doubt begins to creep in. Trust, which may have been fragile to begin with, starts to crack. If you were consistent, compliments, deep conversations, showing interest, and then suddenly you're gone or cold, she starts wondering if it was ever genuine. Part of her still wants to believe in the good. But silence rewrites the story, and even the most sincere moments begin to feel staged. Looking back, everything starts to blur. Those sweet texts, those I love talking to you messages, those nights you made her feel like she mattered. They begin to feel like bait. Emotional manipulation disguised as interest. Now she's asking herself, was it just a game? Was I just something to pass the time? And once she starts to feel like she was played, her emotions don't simply fade away, they transform. Excitement turns to bitterness. Butterflies turn to embarrassment. She rewinds every conversation, replays every compliment, trying to find the moment where she got it wrong, where she misunderstood your intentions. And the silence, it becomes evidence. Evidence that maybe you were never serious to begin with. This is where her pride takes the wheel. The same woman who once wanted your attention now wants her dignity back. The silence that once confused her now fuels resentment. And the worst part, even if you reach back out later, she won't see you the same. The trust has been fractured. The energy has shifted. She's no longer curious, she's cautious. And in her mind, it's no longer, where did he go? It's, wow, maybe I never really knew him at all. 6. Should I move on too? After she's cycled through every emotion, confusion, frustration, doubt, there comes a quiet moment. Not loud, not dramatic, just a shift in her thinking. Should I move on too? This isn't always a conscious decision. Sometimes it sneaks in, the silence, the distance, the mixed signals, they start to wear her down. She starts realizing that every day she waits for a message that doesn't come, she's putting her own self-worth on hold. And even the most emotionally invested woman has a limit. Once the connection starts to feel one-sided, she begins to detach. Not suddenly, but steadily. This is the part some men misread. You think silence makes you more powerful, that it gives you control. But if your silence lacks purpose, if there's no direction or maturity behind it, you don't come off as strong. You come off as confused. And she feels that. She starts questioning your emotional capacity, your ability to lead, to communicate, to be a grounded presence. And guess what? That's not attractive. That's not mysterious. That's weak. You might be hoping she reaches out again, that she comes crawling back. But reality check, most women, even the deeply attached ones, will move on. Quietly, gradually, but permanently. Because once she starts asking herself, Should I move on? The next thought is usually, I think I already have. And by the time you realize she was genuine, that she cared, that she showed up fully, she'll already be rebuilding her confidence. That's the cost of silence without intention. It either pulls her closer or pushes her away. And when it gives her the space to find clarity, she often sees the truth. She was holding on to someone who was never really holding her. So if you're pulling back, let it be for the right reasons. Not fear, not ego, not games, but clarity, grounding, purpose. Otherwise, don't be surprised when she's already halfway out the door and not looking back. 7. Why do I even care this much? After all the mental spirals, emotional back and forth, late nights, staring at the screen, there's another shift. One that feels more grounded. She steps back and asks herself, why do I even care this much? It's a real question. One she doesn't ask lightly, because now she's recognizing the pattern. She's spent too much time overthinking, trying to decode silence, trying to guess what's going on in your mind while ignoring her own. That question, why do I even care this much, is the beginning of her emotional recovery. It's her way of reclaiming power, of starting to see things clearly again. She begins to admit something hard. Maybe she gave more than she got. Maybe she invested in someone who never matched her energy. And that realization, it stings. But it also wakes her up. Because once she starts asking that question, something changes. She's no longer obsessing over what you're doing, who you're with, or when you'll text. She's focusing on her. She starts reflecting. Is this what I deserve? Am I being respected? Is this worth my time and my heart? And the more she reflects, the more the answer becomes clear. Silence without clarity, mixed signals with no intent. That's not mystery, it's disrespect. Here's the truth. When a woman starts questioning why she cares, you've likely already lost her emotionally. By then, it's not about games or attraction, it's about neglect. And once she sees that clearly, she stops trying, stops reaching, stops wondering. You won't see it right away. But trust, her emotional detachment is the final chapter. Because when a woman asks herself, why do I even care this much? She's not giving up. She's waking up. If you've ever been on either side of this story, you know how real it is. The silence, the overthinking, the emotional shifts, they all tell a deeper story than words ever could. So now I want to hear from you. Have you ever gone silent and lost someone who cared? Or been on the other end, waiting for clarity that never came? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it. I'll be connecting with some of you personally, because these conversations, they're the ones that matter most.